And this lady definitely gets me and gets many people that have left their home country and they started a brand new life in Canada, US, Europe, wherever it is that you are. On that segue, let me just say, I want to thank you so much, everyone, for being here, for spending some time, for spending your afternoon, your evening with us, as always, and supporting us. We have so many sponsors to the show, so thank you, thank you, thank you. Big applause. Because without your support, without your financial contribution, this show would not be possible. So thank you so much. We do have over 50 countries. Every show, you probably wonder, Lizzie, every show you say another number, and it's true because it's true. We have whole year listening. Australia, hello, my friends and family members in Australia. We do have people listening to us. And my goodness, Canada, the U.S., my goodness, the list goes on, and I'm so happy to be able to be part of this amazing network that we have created here in Toronto, Canada, believe it or not. So let me read a little bit of bio. This lady is originally, was born, although grew up, same as me, from Chile. Her name is María José, and she goes by my favorite name, La Chilenita Gringa, La Chilena Gringa. And as some of you know, Gringa for us Latinos is, you're not a Latino, you're from North America, so from Europe, British, Australian, I don't know. I think I had the definition a long time ago, what that word where the word came from, and I can't remember. Maybe María José can enlighten us. She has lived in Washington area. She has very accomplished, and I have the link, by the way, for a blog that she worked on. She's done TV, she's done radio. She's huge in YouTube. That's how somebody sent me a link, and that's how I got to see this, met this lady, and I fell in love with it. She is a mother of beautiful, 3 amazing kids. Her husband is American, and she basically, her life is to live on the internet, make people laugh, and for us Chileans, kind of have a little bit of I don't know what should I call it? Je ne sais pas. A little bit of French here, but it's just amazing, and her personality is just hilarious. I mean, just to watch her, I think every time she posts a video, I'm like right there. I want to know what it's all about. She speaks Spanish fluently, and she has a very good affinity for accents. One thing I noticed about her as well. So I pretty much follow all her social media, and I watch, I think, almost all of her videos. So let's bring her on. And by the way, if you would like to call us in, by the way, to speak with her, this is a rare opportunity, so take advantage. Our number to call us in is 516-387-1547. Remember, I am on social media, so if you would like to tweet, or if you would like to put your comments on Facebook, we are here to make sure that you participate, because we love participation. Again, the number is 516-387-1549. I will post it. So let's welcome her with a wonderful round of applause. Hello, sweetie,
hello.
And welcome to the LizyT Radio Show. How are you doing this evening? Ready for some
more fun?
Thank
you. Wow, yes, thank you so much. Can I just say that is I've never had an introduction like the one you just gave me, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you. I really do. That was absolutely lovely. Probably far and beyond the scope of how things really are, but like Lizzie said, we haven't met. We've just we know each other online, but we have that that shared cultural and experience, both being Chilean and having been raised outside of Chile, yet feeling so tied to it because that's the culture of our parents, and that's how they raised us. And I know that people that even aren't Chilean but are, from a different country and raised in the U.S. or Canada, they say, like, I can relate to that, just like I relate to other people's content. When they talk about being a foreign kid or things, or when no one can pronounce your name. So it crosses different cultures.
Awesome. So one of the things that I admire about you, María José, is that you brought something which is common sense. But before you started your La Chilena Gringa, you're very accomplished. Like when you have a PR degree, of course, you've been doing PR for a long time. You also have your side business. You do voiceover. You do you have a very amazing blog, which I love it, which is Busy Mama. And how did all that started before you started your famous YouTube channel?
Well, thank you again. So, yeah, just quickly, what happened is, so like you said, I've worked in public relations as a profession for, basically since I got out of college in 2002. In between, I moved to London, and I got my master's in public relations, and then I started working for a PR company there. I also had my first son there in London, and I had, and then after I came back from maternity leave, and I was back to the same job, but I felt, creatively, I just felt I somehow had seen another blog, and then I realized, I can do that too. And so my very first blog was in 2010, and it was a blog about parenting, but it was from my kid's point of view. So I would write like my child. But back then he didn't talk, and it was really funny. And then that sort of evolved into Very Busy Mama blog, the one I have now, because it's really my voice. And I realized I wanted to put my voice because there were important things that I wanted to say that other women could relate to. And mostly it was fashion and beauty for moms, but with a humorous take. I would say like, I'm gordita, like I'm a size 12, I'm a size 14 sometimes. I've been every size, and I want to tell you it's okay. You can look a certain way and still look and feel your best. There's no excuse, regardless of your budget. And so I basically used myself as an example. Hey, I'm 5'1", and I've been every size. I know what it's like to feel down, but I also know what it's like to feel good. And so that's kind of how that started. And as far as the side business and everything, it's all just stemming from motherhood. I think being a mother, a lot of people think, oh, God, I have kids now. I can't do things I want. I've actually accomplished more in my life since being married and being a mother than when you have the time, you waste the time. And so being a mother has pushed me. That's what pushed me to have my own business, to be able to have my own clients, and it's amazing what those kiddos, they'll drain you out, but they also give you you just find this new you. And if you do it correctly, you come out, you realize you have a passion for something or a talent that you never knew before. And that's a beautiful
really
thing.
And it is true, because that's what I found. That's exactly when I started my business and the radio shows, when I was the busiest the most. And I need to fill the time with something that it wasn't just, the day-to-day and the creative side. I think that's really what it is, that the creative side in us needs to come out somewhere, somehow. And that's what happened to you, obviously, and that's what happened to me. You're listening, everyone, to the LizyT radio show. We will be doing a tiny little live later on, because I want you to see, there is pictures on Facebook right now of this beautiful, beautiful, she looks like a gringa, never mind. What do we like? I look Latina, she doesn't. And there's pictures right now. If you're interested in calling us in, guys, I love interaction. If you speak Spanish, we can switch a little bit on the Spanish side as well. So let me take you to the next step, María José. A friend of mine sent me your link for La Chilena Gringa. My God, I have laughed so hard in my life. I was like, OMG, somebody actually figured out how I'm feeling, how it feels. how people look at you. Like, are you a Gringa? Are you a Chilean? Are you a Latina? And I think the first video I saw about you was when you went for this video about you going for an interview, and you're saying, no, I'm Chilean, and this is, Latina, no, I'm Chilean.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Well,
and so
I think it's...
How did the idea came about? Like, how did you actually come up with this concept? To me, as a given, somebody should have had come out sooner, but I'm glad it was you.
Sure.
And
sure. So, so just to go back, the video you're talking about is basically, so I'm assuming in Canada you use sort of the same, when you fill out forms, just like in the U.S., you are asked your ethnic and your ethnicity and your race. So when you're ticking a box, it'll say, African American, Native American, Hispanic, Latino, white, or other. Like, that's all they give you, or Asian. And so you are faced with this decision, and you're like, what is this? I don't even know. So just quickly backing up, that is something made up by, the American government, or if it's used in Canada, I'm not too sure. But it's just to determine that, to be able to collect information. It started a while back. However, it's very, very, very broad, because it's very difficult to capture someone in one of those boxes. And when you live in your own country, you are Canadian. You are Chilean. You're not North American. Or I'm not. People in Europe don't say they're European. They say they're French or they're German. They don't say European. And people in Latin America, same thing. No one says, I'm Latin American. They say I'm Chilean. Or if they do, we say we're South American. But the term Hispanic and Latino there's too much to dissect there. You have to unwrap that package and try to figure out what it means. I'm going to be honest with you. I still don't know what that means. In the U.S., they use it to determine – no, they don't. In the U.S., basically they use it to determine anyone born from Mexico down, so anywhere in Latin America. Okay. However, we know that if you unpack it a little more, the layers are still there. You see that there's Brazil. Our Brazilians, Latinos, they don't speak Spanish. They don't have a Spanish background. They don't speak the language. They're part of Latin America, but are they Latino? They don't consider themselves that. And you have the other islands. There's Trinidad and Tobago. There's Guyana, French Guyana, all these other little things. So what happens is that it's a question that's been, and so a lot of times, specifically with Chilenos, like Chileans, when they come here, they're like, oh, where are you from? Chile. You're like, oh, you're Latino. You're like, no, I'm not, because it's not something we consider ourselves, because it's not when you're in your own country or your own person, your own nationality. But also on top of that, I believe that even within Latin American countries, for instance, I asked my mother, do you consider yourself Latina? She's like, no. Growing up, for us, Latinos were like Central Americans, or, she said that when she studied, and my mother, she grew up in Chile, she said that when she studied Latin American literature, it was everything from Venezuela, Colombia, and up. They didn't even talk about Chile or anything else when they were studying Latin American literature. So there's something to be said. It's also, like I said, there's just lots of layers to it, and you have to start peeling it back. And so that's why the video is pretty much myself, and this is all comedic. It's myself. I'm the American person interviewing this Chilean person who comes in, and she's like, oh, yeah, I'm from Chile. And she's like, oh, so you're Latina. She's like, no, I'm from Chile. And they're like, yeah, that's in Latin America, so that means you're Latina. She's like, no, I'm not a Latina because I don't know how to dance. I don't eat spicy food. And I use those examples. Of course, it's a humorous video. There's a lot more to it, because we also have stereotypes of what a Latino is. And so in Chile, which is a country which doesn't, it's not like the Caribbean, the music, it's different types of music, different types of food. And so it's just to show how we get lumped into one group, yet you're still trying to stand out. But here in the U.S., at the end, I think that I had the person just say, yeah, okay, I'm Latina. Jesus, fine, just check it.
Leave me alone.
But it's difficult. Yeah, and it's difficult, because also, like I said, they ask you about your race, and your ethnicity. So, being Hispanic, being Latino is not a race. It's not like being Black or Asian. Being Latino is not a race. You have a mix of races. So my family is predominantly from Europe. My grandparents are German immigrants to Chile. So, I'm white. Racially, I am white, Caucasian, but I'm Latin American. And then I have friends that are Asian. There's a big Asian colony in Peru and Brazil and Central America. You had different types of immigration at different times. You have Afro-Latinos, and that's they have their own, little package to unwrap, because they say, like, people, they come here and they're like, they think they're African-Americans or Black, and they're like, no, I'm Latina. And they didn't grow up with the, U.S. African culture or African-American culture. They're, like, from the Dominican Republic, but they're considered Black. Do you see what I mean? And so there's a lot in there. And people are very, very much divided. People are divided.
And I think
I
think it's like that pretty much all over the world, and how the society of North America has just lumped up into one thing, and whether we like it or not, we have to take it. And sometimes we just take a stand, like you did on the video, like, no, don't lump me with all those people, because there is different countries in Latin America or South America or Central America. But what I wanted to get to, María José, is what got you the idea? Because you were doing blogs for moms and talking about your life with your kids, newborns, and things like that. But what made you start, or what happened that you started the YouTube channel La Chilena de Gringa? And I know you had one hit that it went viral. So what made you kind of switch to that particular genre, I guess, if I would say so?
So I think another thing is going back to that creativity. I've been doing blogging and, videos here and there since 2010. And I realized it's just a little mix of everything. I've always wanted to do acting as well. I had started acting locally, but it was something like, people would tell me, they're like, you're like the only Chilean I know. You're like my white Latina friend, my white Chilean friend. And so I wanted to do something in Spanish also, because I think I have part of my humor in English is because of my Chilean side. There's things that your mind is, when you're bilingual and you're bicultural and you've been in both worlds, you see things very, very differently. Nothing is one-sided anymore. Nothing in this world is one-sided. And so I was just like, I want to do something in Spanish. And so what I did was, I had seen a lot of these funny videos from comedians, like Latino comedians, talking about being Hispanic in the U.S., the struggles are real, and all these things. And they were all doing it in English, which I liked. But I wanted to do mine in Spanish, and specifically about Chileans, because we are this society that thinks that we're better than everybody else, but at the same time, we're very insecure. We love making fun of everybody else, but nobody likes to be made fun of. I had so many experiences every time I went to Chile, which I thought were hilarious. And people were like, why are you laughing? I'm like, did you not just hear what he said? Did you not just hear how he talked? We make funny noises. And so I think because I also lived a life removed from Chile, I was able to see Chile through the eyes of a foreigner, but also as someone who is from there, and use it to kind of talk to other people. And apparently a lot of people feel the same way I do. They've noticed things, but they weren't able to say it. Mm-hmm. And really it started because I did want to speak in Spanish, and then I asked my son to do it because, yes, my husband is from here, but we're raising our children bilingual. And I dedicated myself to, obviously I don't have a problem with English. But my heart, I can't parent in English. The discipline, the love, all those things, for me, comes in Spanish. And so, we do the one parent, one language system, mm-hmm. which is I speak to my kids in Spanish and my husband speaks to them in English. And it works very well. And so I had my 8-year-old son, and we were just talking about funny words like in Chilean Spanish that make him laugh. And apparently, that it went all over, because overnight I went from maybe 100 followers on YouTube to almost 1,000. And that was
crazy
because of that. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, my God. They're like, I have a cousin in the States, and she's Chilena, and she's married to a gringo, and it's just like that. Like, it was almost like I feel that I represent Chileans who live abroad, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
And because we're also a country that is so far away from everything else in the world, you know, we, as opposed to other Latin Americans who can go to their country and be there in a few hours, you know, it's a long trip. It's a country that's far, not that many people knew about it, you know, and so I wanted to kind of be like, hey, I'm Chilena Gringa too, you know, I know what it's like to be in the summertime in the U.S., and then your dad decides to send you to Chile to see your relatives, and it's the middle of winter. And you're like, what? You know, so, and it's those little things that, you know, I think people sort of took to, and none of it is forced. I have so many stories. I have so much material to work with.
For the rest of your life, I think.
And so, I hope so. I hope so. And sometimes, you know, I get insecure like everybody. I mean, I think that anybody, and I'm not just saying it for me, but anybody who puts themselves out on the internet is brave. You know, I get set up for attacks. I've been threatened. I've had hate mail. I've had vicious comments that I think, how can a human say that to somebody else just for putting a video, and they didn't like my face, you know? I mean,
right.
So you get, it's a mixed bag, but you have to take it.
That's a good segue too.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, what is the negative? The positive, obviously, is you've gone viral. People love it. I honestly do. I so identify with you. I so get you, because I am going through exactly the same thing as you are. You know, married to a Canadian, have kids and all that good stuff. And then when you do comment things that to us are hilarious when we go back to our own country, or we talk to people that are from our own culture, and we find it just like, really, are you actually saying that? Are you actually looking at me that way, or are you actually commenting, you know, things? And to us, it's just like crazy. But again, it's our people, our family, our relatives. And what do you think that is going to come out of this? Because you are saying that you do get a lot of hate mail, you do get a lot of nasty comments.
Yeah, but you know what I realized? So what I started doing is really funny. So at the beginning, it was really, some of them are difficult to read. So at the beginning, I started noticing there was actual hate, but just because they wanted to hate on you. Because, you know, there's just people, especially men, I think they are threatened. I think men, especially in Latin America, you know, seeing funny women is not that common. I grew up where they're like, you need to be quiet, don't laugh so loud, let everybody make jokes, don't make any more jokes, you've had enough. Like, I was always kind of like, calladita, la, 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 la. And so also seeing women, comedians, or women who are doing funny things is still rare. There are some, of course. So number one. Number two, some of them are just, if you really look at I started looking at the comments and really like saying, like, where is this coming from? Some of it is pure trolling, just trolling me online, wanting to make my feelings hurt, wanting to be, you know, just bad people. The other comments that were possibly negative, I don't mind negative comments. If you don't like what I'm doing, that's okay. But it's, you know, the insults and insulting my weight and my face and my kids and telling me you want to kill me, you know, that's separate. That's just being cruel and trolling. Now, the other side of that is, like I said, just comments that where people didn't like something. And I always leave those because I want the discussion. But I think a lot of people also, like, most of the people I might see things one way, but sometimes people think I'm making fun of them, and I'm not. But then they're like, yeah, but you're right, we are like that. So it took me a while. You have to develop some thick skin, and I would get nervous when I heard, like, the ping of the comment. But you know, what I started doing is, for people who weren't extremely insulting, but they said, you know, kind of silly things, I would just answer them with something. I'm like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I know. I cannot believe I said that, you know. And then they had nothing to say. Or I'd agree with whatever they called me, and then they would say nothing else.
And
I'm like, yeah, I know. I was like,
good for you for developing.
I do that all the time.
good for you for developing a thick skin and taking it in with pride, because you're doing such a great job. And I think for an artist like yourself to be able to utilize, your own tools. And yes, we sometimes make fun of our own culture and our race, but it's us. You are listening, everyone, to the LizyT Radio Show. We are. Hello. I'm back. I'm tweeting, I'm Facebooking, and goodness, talk about multitasking here. I am with María José, beautiful lady, Chilena, Gringa. I love her, and she is definitely inspired me, I have to say. Doing this, what I'm doing. Sometimes we question ourselves, right, María José? We wondering, should we be doing this? And is the money, the big money, gonna ever come back? Do you go through those things in your mind? I think
yeah,
I'm not the only one.
No, you're not the only one. And you know what I don't like is that it's been proven that we as women, we question ourselves more than men. Like men, they're just like, I don't care, I'll do it. Women, we don't. You could say we're more careful, but we're in it already, and you doubt yourself. And just like you have your own show. This is your baby. This is what you started because you like radio, you like the entertainment business, and you did it. And it's no different than someone, having their own YouTube channel and creating their funny stuff, or being an actor, or starting their own business, or, being a blogger. It's a creative side, and I think everyone should have something that they love that is not, part of their daily job all the time. But yeah, we do doubt ourselves too much. I don't like it, and I always tell myself, no. I'm like, no, I'm good enough. This is working. But I will tell you, every time I do a video, I have 10 doubts before, and then I post it, and I'm like, no one's good, and then I'm always surprised. I'm always surprised, because even if one person says they get it, that's success. That for me, success is different for everybody.
Absolutely.
Success doesn't mean money. Success, you have to define what that is.
I so agree with you. Do you question yourself when you're doing the video and you editing, and afterwards I can imagine you're just completely happy with the result, because the hits are just incredible. And right after, it's like people follow you all the time. And what does your husband, your mom, and close family and friends, what do they think?
You know what? They don't actually watch. Sometimes I'm like, hey, did you see my videos? They're like, no, I haven't. It's like it's funny, and not that they don't support me, but I think they're the ones that don't follow me as much. Although I've had, family in Chile, they're like, oh my God, where do you get these ideas from? And I'm like, I wonder, look at, you were like, I was like, you were like the perfect example for the last video. And I think because also
you were my inspiration.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, Theo, hello. I was like, did you not get what I just said? That wasn't made up. That was like real. So yeah, my husband, he's also a creative person, but he's more serious. He doesn't even, he doesn't even have social media. He barely has he has Yahoo Mail, but he knows that this is me. And the thing is, what you see on video is how I am. I don't do a lot of 3, 2, 1. Okay, today we're gonna. No, how you see me talk is how I really am. Which isn't sometimes always very polished, but that's how I am. That's my personality. That's how I'm thinking, and it's. I know you. I think I know your dad. Or I used to babysit for you in Chile when you were little. I was like, what? So, I think it attracts different people. Yeah, and I have a lot of followers that are not Chilean, but they get it. They're like, look, I'm Indian, but that stuff happens in all cultures. Like being first generation or being well, I was born in Chile, but, being like coming here young and then growing up here, basically you are your parents' keepers. I had to translate things. I had to tell, like, Mommy, no, you don't do that, or, and so you grow. This is what I say is, like, you grow, you become this other person, and then that puts into another person. And these are just parts of you, and that all plays into the videos,
And you're doing great.
And people from other countries and cultures can relate to that. And I know in Canada there's like a large Chilean population, and I have a lot of followers in Canada, and they're always like, oh my God, that's so funny. They're like, just like my family here. Like I speak in English. My mom yells at me in Chilean Spanish, and I yell at her in English. And so it reaches different people.
And it so does. So one of the things that I wanted to ask you, María José, is that how do you foresee yourself going in the future? Like, I mean, this is going so amazing, and you're growing so much, and your followers are just, dying to see more of your stuff. I personally am. And the theme of the show is tell us who you are, what you do, contact info, anything new. But what are your thoughts? Like, how do you see yourself in the next couple of years? And do you think you want to teach this kind of stuff? Because honestly, there is so much room for people to learn what you're doing. And to you, it's a given. It's natural. It doesn't seem like you work harder, but there's a lot of people that will love to do what you're doing, and they want to take perhaps a workshop from you or something like that.
There again, I like to use this term, and I used it before. There's a lot to unwrap. It's como a little package, and it's just okay. So to the beginning of it, where do I see myself? Honestly, I have no idea, because this was unexpected. Like I said, I've been in the blogging, like the online life, since 2010. That's 7 years, okay? That's a long time for online life. A lot of people, leave it after a few years, and it's normal to progress, to start as one thing and then change and maybe start another project, and that's normal. That's what keeps you going. Also, I have been fortunate, right now, no, but I have been fortunate to be able to make a living from being online. But what happened is that I got a little bored with my other blog, and I still am doing it, but just the happiness wasn't there. And that's when I said, because I want to do something in Spanish. And so that's what's filling me right now. I would love to, I want to be in the entertainment space of some sort, so either as an actor or a YouTuber, but also sharing real messages, because I'm a woman in America, and we know what's going, we live in special times. I'm also Latina, or maybe not, Chilena. There's a lot to talk about. So I want to use my voice, for good. And if I could do that through being funny, or, having this YouTube channel, or being an actor and someone saying on TV, like, oh, that girl's Chilena, like that's and kind of being that person that people can say, she does this, but she's also sending out good messages. I have 2 daughters. I want them to grow up to be smart women, and not always be like, oh, you're so pretty. No, I want them to be smart girls, to be able to make, good decisions and be good people, and that you can do good doing what you love. So that's really what it is. It's not just about me. It's about, okay, you know what, if I'm doing this, let it be for something good. And I noticed making people laugh.
And I noticed, too, that you're probably thinking of leaving a legacy by giving your kids an example that if you put your mind to it, if you're strong enough, your feelings are there, and you think this is going to work, you're teaching them a very, very beautiful example. Whether it is financially visible or not, that's beside the point. You're doing what you love, and you're again, I consider you an amazing, successful. So for people that are listening,
thank you.
They love to see you more, and they love to perhaps, I don't know, have you ever thought of doing stand-up comedian? Because I think you'd be hilarious.
Yes, so that is actually one of the things I want to do with this, like taking this theme of La Chilena Gringa, on maybe doing like a little, because each video could be like a little stand-up, a short or whatever it's called. I literally have no experience in that. I know that I want to do it. I'm still working on how to do it, and it is something I am looking at. And again, there's so much here. Like, again, most of the time I'm yelling at my kids during the day. I barely have time for an email. But when you want something, you carve your time out for it. And I think progress isn't perfect. Progress is progress, but it's not perfect. So people think like, it's not working out. Well, it is. It's not perfect. Like not everything is going to go your way 100%. I've been working at this in general just for a long time. And when I've always wanted to be an actor, and I never was really able to. Also a cultural thing, like, no, you're not going to be an actor. Yeah, right. And 3 years ago with 2 kids, I was like, no, I'm going to do acting. And I started doing local things. I don't live in an area that has, like, amazing things, but the little bit that I can do to get the experience and things on my resume and that fulfills me is working out great. Again, I have to be so much more organized than other people who don't have children. I have to get babysitters. I have to plan around it. I've had to do auditions, like, right after having yelled at my kids, you kind of have to find what works for you. And I still don't know what works for me. I have no idea. Some days I'm like, I have no idea.
I think you stepped onto this, and you have it's like a rabbit hole. Alice and the rabbit. You don't know how this is going to go, but you have definitely found something that is. I can just see it. It's going to grow. Yeah. It's going to grow. And
I don't know how exactly. And some people would say, like, you better know where it's going to go. I have no idea where it's going to go. And, thank you so much for saying all those nice things, because sometimes I feel like this isn't going anywhere. This is as big as it's going to get. Like, who else is going to keep watching this? Like, how much more new stuff can I come up with? But here's the thing, and I never believe this used to be. I used to roll my eyes when people would say this, like, do what you love, and you're like, okay, but in this case, like, I love making those videos. I'm scared when I post them, but I love making them. I love them so much that I will make them, and then I will post them, and I'll get scared, and then I think no one's going to like it, and I have to brace myself for the comments. But I truly like it, and I really did not understand that. Yes, I want to be able to support my family and have an income, but everyone has to start at the bottom. No one just jumps in. Yeah.
Absolutely. So for people that are listening to us right now and they want to be perhaps just contact you, reach out to you, maybe give you some material, maybe invite you to come over and speak about anything, where can they reach you?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much everywhere. If you type my full name, María José Ovalle, into Google, it's pretty much me. But you can find me on YouTube, it's La Chilena Gringa. And same thing on Facebook as La Chilena Gringa, and those two things will probably lead you to my other channels. And maybe we can post that on your site, because I know it's not easy to spell out or understand if you're not too sure. But I think those two, and I'm also on Instagram, and I kind of mix a little bit. It's almost like my Instagram is a little bit behind the scenes of myself and my family and my kids, and a mix of work and the vlogs, a little bit of everything. So it depends. I have followers that love my Instagram and my YouTube, others the Facebook. I have a lot of discussions on there, ask questions. So and I've made so many, online friends that I didn't think I would have. So, especially in that we have so many things in common. So,
and
but YouTube is La Chilena Gringa. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm here right now, right? So it's but you can find me on Facebook as La Chilena Gringa, and same thing with YouTube, La Chilena Gringa. Most of the content is in Spanish. Some things are bilingual, but I get emails and things in both English and Spanish, so not a problem.
Awesome, awesome. Hello, hello, hello. We're back and we are just starting to run out of time. I lie, Maria Jose. I told you it will be short, but look at this. We can talk forever and didn't mean to lie. I'm hoping that you're okay. I know you have your kids being babysat by grandma right now, so I'm hoping that I'm not taking too much of your time.
No, it's absolutely fine. It's absolutely
Okay.
fine. I'm here,
Awesome.
and yeah.
Oh, I'm hoping we're having a good time. So on that note, I asked you if somebody's listening to us right now and they have ideas how to post, how to go about doing their own YouTube channel. What are kind of the tips that you can share with my audience? And what made you go viral? Like, was it coincidental, or you kind of, did this?
You know what? I have if when what you know what if you find out, you can tell me, because I've been, like I said, I've been working in this space. When I say space, I mean online, blogging and being more than a blogger, like they call it now, content creator. I've been making videos and writing for years, and I've wanted to know how something goes viral. I was like, I don't know. I'd never, honestly, these are things, no one can tell you how to make anything go viral. It just happens. People will tell you they have tips. There really isn't. It has to be, I spoke about funny words, funny Chilean words that make my American son laugh. That is very specific in the sense that it is hitting a certain audience, okay? It had the keyword of Chile and Gringo, which is a great combination. And again, it just struck a chord. It was something that was new and fresh. But again, I didn't plan that. That video I did was probably one of the worst edited videos. I did it in a rush. My son was tired. We had other things to talk about. He didn't want to do it. I never expected for that to happen. So I don't have an answer, unfortunately, for the going viral. As far as starting your own YouTube, I encourage it. There is more than enough space in the internet, and I really believe, here's the thing, everyone has a story to tell, everyone. So mine is, the Chilena Gringa growing up here, and then you have other people who have other stories. I mean, and when I mean story, it just means whatever it is that you have in your head right now that you're like, I wanted to do a YouTube channel about this, you should. And me. This literally happened just overnight. I woke up and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it. And that's, it literally just happened. And so, yeah, and I think a lot of people say, like, I have this idea. Here's the thing. You will never be 100% ready. People say, like, well, when I get my new camera, when I do this, when I do that, I'm going to No. So my point is no one will ever be 100% ready.
So true.
And even if you have all your things you need, you will never be 100% ready. You just do it, and you grow with it. And I really, truly believe that, because that's how I was. And I think if anybody is listening to this and like, you know what, I want to do this, you should just do it. And guess what? Your first video, nobody's going to see it. No one's going to see it because nobody knows you yet. But you keep going. And you share it with your family, and then someone passes it on, and you keep going. So that's how it is. And remember, no one's going to see it, so don't worry about it. So it's your perfect time, because you can continue to work and come up with other things. And so it is not just about fulfilling your dreams, because I never dreamt I was going to do video and YouTube, but it's a form of entertainment, and that's what I've always wanted to do. I like the entertainment aspect of it, and I think also when we get so stuck in, like, I have to be an actor, and by, in 5 years I'll be making a movie with Brad Pitt, and then I'm going to win an Oscar. And I think we can't set those things for us. We have to, find our path, but then you have to roll with the punches. You got to be able to just boom, 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 whatever's coming at you left and right, and still continue. And you can't set, like, these unrealistic goals, because they're not going to happen the way you want it to happen. They will happen how it's supposed to happen. But recognizing it and knowing what to do with it is what's going to get you ahead. And that's how I feel now, because nothing in my life has gone the way I planned it. Nothing. But I have pretty much always been able to do what I wanted, but never the way I imagined it.
Wow, that definitely deserves a big applause. My goodness. Good for you. Good to tell you that. Well, guys, we are starting to come to an end. I will try to do a little bit of a live stream